May 15th, 2006, Northridge. The sun is rising, but it offers zero warmth. You step over a figure huddled in the snow, just another frozen landmark on the way to the top. You assume he's gone. You keep climbing. Just one problem, he was watching you walk away. Welcome to 8,000 meters, cruising altitude for a Boeing 747. Up here, your blood turns to sludge. Your brain swells against your skull. They call it the death zone for a reason. One slip, one nap, and you become part of the landscape. But the cold isn't the only killer up here. Sometimes it's the ego. This is the tale of three men, three legends, one graveyard: David Sharp, the infamous Green Boots, and the rock star Scott Fischer. What happened to them isn't just a tragedy, it's a mirror. David Sharp wasn't some reckless amateur. He was an engineer, calculated. He was just tragically independent. 2006, he books a ticket to the roof of the world, solo, no support team, no backup oxygen. Pure style, he called it. He went with the bargain option, basic logistics only, North Face route. Cheaper, colder, more brutal. No radio to call for help, no Sherpa to share the load. A complete roll of the dice. May 13th. He pushes into the black. He likely stood on top of the world in the middle of the night. Shadows on the ridge suggest he made it. But the mountain charges its toll on the way down, 8,500 meters. Exhausted, he crawls into a small limestone overhang. He wasn't the first tenant. He curls up next to a pair of neon green boots, a corpse that had been guarding that cave since '96. His hands blacken, his tank runs dry. He freezes in place, but his heart keeps beating. Sunrise. The summit push begins. Headlamps sweep over him. He's dead, they think. Then someone pauses. A low moan cuts through the wind. They stare. They hesitate. But the summit is right there. He's too far gone. It becomes the excuse. Or maybe they just didn't want to lose their deposit on glory. To be fair, rescue up there is nearly physics-defying. It's like trying to carry a refrigerator while breathing through a straw. A Turkish team shines a light in his face. They shake their heads and move on. Massive commercial expedition marches past his boots. Finally, a Sherpa kneels down. The frozen statue whispers, "My name is David Sharp." He begs for sleep. The one thing that guarantees he'll never wake up. Radios crackle. Arguments fly at base camp. But the verdict comes down. Keep climbing. He is left behind. That day, 40 people walked past a living man to touch a piece of rock. By the next sunrise, David Sharp was gone. He sat there for a year, a grim twin to Green Boots, until they finally pushed him off the ledge into the abyss. David Sharp paid with his life, but 40 others paid with their humanity. Thanks for watching. Respect the edge, and don't forget the summit is only halfway. It keeps you up at night. How do dozens of people walk past a man fading into the ice? Why didn't a single person unclip their mask and share the air? Drag him, scream, do something. The reality is a gut punch. At 8,500 meters, you are a zombie fighting just to keep your own heart beating. Trying to play hero up there isn't noble. It is usually a suicide pact. Training is scarce, and radios are dead weight. And for David, he was a ghost. Nobody tracked him. Nobody looked back. He bet everything on the mountain's silence, and the house won. Yet, only a few strides from where David exhaled his life, a silent partner had been waiting for 10 years. A permanent spectator, famous not for his face, but for his wardrobe. Just below the northeast ridge lies a limestone alcove with a dark reputation. Green Boots Cave. Every season, hues of climbers trudge past, eyes glazing over the figure curled in the fetal position. Neon green Koflok boots blazing against the white snow. That was his entire identity. To the world, he was simply Green Boots. But before the ice took him, he was likely Sewang Paljor, a son of Ladakh. Born in 1968, he wore the badge of the Indo-Tibetan Border Police, built to serve and conquer peaks. May 10th, 1996. It is late, 3:45 in the afternoon, when Paljor and his team break protocol to tag the top. They called in a victory, but the mountain lied. They likely stopped at a false peak, 150 meters short of the prize. Then the storm slammed the door. Wind screaming at 100 clicks, air freezing instantly at -40. 3 men went up, 0 came down. Later that season, a new shape appeared under the limestone overhang at 8,500 meters, tucked on his left side, arms wrapped tight, hiding from the wind. His face was already lost to the frost. Scattered tanks, debris, and those unmistakable bright green boots. He stopped being a man and became a mile marker, a frozen gauge of altitude and a warning of the thin line between glory and the grave. In 2006, when David Sharp was dying in that same hole, climbers looked at him and their brains filled in the gap. They thought it was just the old landmark. They stepped around him, assuming he was long gone. For 2 decades, he lay wedged under that rock, the most tragic waypoint on Earth. But the mountain claims the famous too. It takes the titans, the leaders, the ones holding the ropes for everyone else. Enter Scott Fischer. 1996 was the year his fuel tank finally ran dry. A guy like Scott was not scripted to die on Everest. He was elite, a total legend, 40 years old, summited Everest with no bottled oxygen. That earns you a different kind of respect. He was built like iron, charismatic as hell, and lived by a simple code: get up, get down, get out of there. But Everest does not read resumes. Scott was the boss at Mountain Madness, one of the top-tier guiding outfits on the hill. The 96 expedition was heavy, packed with clients, staff, and crushing expectations. When you are the face of the brand, turning around is not just a safety call, it is a business loss. May 10th, 7,900 meters. The South Col. Scott launches the final push. The sky was blue. Hopes were high. But the clock was already ticking faster than they were moving. It began with a traffic jam at the Hillary step ropes unfixed, tourists stalling, and the clock ticking relentlessly. And Scott? He wasn't the leader that day. He was the liability. You could hear the fluid rattling in his lungs, high-altitude pulmonary edema drowning him from the inside out. He was moving in slow motion. Even with the oxygen mask cranked up, his body was failing, but his will refused to break. May 10th, 3:45 p.m., the sun was already dipping when Scott Fischer finally stepped onto the roof of the world. He stood there for 20 minutes of triumph before turning around. Just one problem: his legs wouldn't listen anymore. Lopsang Zhangbu, the lead Sherpa, saw the glazed look in his boss's eyes. He clipped Scott to his harness, practically dragging a dead weight down the ice. By the south summit, the tank hit 0. Scott collapsed into the snow. The cold cut through his suit like a knife, and in a slur, he told Lopsang to leave him. It was the last command he ever gave. That night, Anatoly Bukrev charged back into the hurricane, saving strangers in the dark, but he couldn't save his friend. When he found Fischer, the man was a statue, oxygen empty, glove missing, hand frozen white. And the most terrifying detail? His down suit was unzipped, one arm pulled free. Paradoxical undressing his dying brain convinced him he was burning up in the minus 40-degree wind. Scott Fischer didn't die from bad luck. He died from the accumulation of 1,000 tiny cuts. The weight at the step, the hidden sickness, the refusal to turn back. Anatoly sat with him till the end. Then he pulled a backpack over Scott's face, pushed him off the path, and left him to the mountain. He is still there today, a permanent resident of the death zone. This wasn't an accident.